Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 rock drummers. For this list, we'll be looking at the greatest percussionists in the genre. Did we forget one of your favorite drummers? Let us know in the comments below. Number 20, Levon Helm, The Band. If ever there was a gold standard for drummers that also sang, Levon Helm would have to be in the conversation.
It's a time I remember oh so well.
He worked with a truly underrated group called The Band, known for touring with Bob Dylan before venturing out on their own acclaimed career. Helm was the only American in the mostly Canadian band. That fact helped bring an added authenticity to their folksy tales and southern fables that they so often explored.
Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free.
His singing ability also never took precedence over his percussion skills. With a charismatic style, he ensured that every track felt like its own distinct blend of roots and country rock.
Both on the window, a mail by the door. Why would anybody leave so quickly for?
Number 19, Michael Shreve, Santana. While Michael Shreve's work with Santana isn't mentioned as much as others in the pantheon of rock drummers, he served an important role during the group's breakout period. He and the band received an invitation to Woodstock that put them into the history books with an amazing performance. Captured in the event's official documentary, Shreve's work on Soul Sacrifice is forever an incredible showcase for high-powered drumming. His lively input on 8 Santana records never ceased to enhance any of their productions. When the act was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the percussionist was included among the essential members that shaped their diverse sound.
But even more, I want to say that I have been really grateful and honored all my life to have been a part of making music with these guys up here on the stage. I thank you very much.
Number 18, Steve Gadd, multiple artists. He might not have been known for being in a band, but Steve Gadd made a significant impact on drumming for several decades. His session work ranks among the best of the 70s, with an adaptive skill set that's suited for any style. Some of his greatest collaborators include James Taylor and even Paul Simon. For the latter, he played on the track 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
There must be 50 ways to leave your lover.
Next to his work with solo artists, Gadd also recorded with Steely Dan on their album Asia. His 2 drum solos on the title track still blow people away with their rapid-fire rhythms. This only covers a small portion of a never-ending career where he's added a jazz flair to many memorable rock tunes. Number 17, Danny Seraphine, Chicago. One of the many original members of Chicago, Danny Seraphine remains their unsung superstar.
How close to you that I wanna be?
His dynamic rolls and fills provide the perfect accent on their finest work. On the band's first album, Seraphine immediately made himself known on Beginnings. The group's rapidly changing sound in the 70s always needed his drums to deliver an extra shock to the system. His finest achievements on his kit have an effortless feeling, alternating between complete control and a wonderfully freestyle quality.
Couldn't stand to be kept away just for the day.
Although he asked to leave Chicago in 1990, his efforts on their first 19 albums always stood out and surprised audiences. Number 16, Bill Bruford, Yes and King Crimson. Most drummers are lucky if they leave an impression on one group. That's why Bill Bruford's work with both Yes and King Crimson is fantastic. By producing some of the more experimental and detailed music of the late 60s and 70s, each band became integral to the progressive rock scene. Bruford co-founded Yes and performed on their classic releases such as the Yes album and Close to the Edge. Any fans of their songs Long Distance Runaround or Roundabout will hear textbook cases of his ingenuity. His later work with King Crimson on 80s albums such as Discipline represents some of the more daring pieces of musical excellence. Not to be outdone, his highly recognized career also included touring with Genesis and multiple solo records. Number 15. Jeff Porcaro, Toto. Jeff Porcaro is generally known as the drummer for the hit-making collective Toto. He contributed to many great singles with his drum pattern for the song Rosanna, regarded as an influential piece. Porcaro's fast hands kept up any time signature with complete ease and precision. Some of his best work was for other legendary acts. His reputation as a major session player in the 70s and 80s put him in a category all his own. Over the years, Porcaro played for everyone from Boz Scaggs to Michael Jackson. Whether he was with his main band or working in the studio for someone else, he never let his tracks be boring. Number 14. Danny Carey, Tool. Tool is an alternative metal band that grew a considerable audience after their 90s breakthrough. Their success as a cult rock group is in part because of Danny Carey's expertise on the drums. Honestly, it feels like no time signature is too complicated for this performer. He has the ability to run through their difficult set list like it's a light breeze. Any percussionist that can articulate the rhythms of Sober or Schism deserves a mention for their artistry. Studying the greatest rock and jazz drummers, Carey incorporates a whole host of techniques that put him on lists next to his heroes. Anyone who doubts his progressive drumming prowess should look no further than his own work on Pneuma. Number 13. Roger Taylor, Queen. Queen simply personified glam rock. And Roger Taylor's drums were every bit as integral to their bombastic sound. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. While Freddie Mercury and Brian May were often considered the two stars of the band, Taylor competed for the spotlight in many noteworthy tracks. His intensity kicks off the hard rock sequence of Bohemian Rhapsody, shining bright on an already awesome song. As the group transitioned into their arena phase, the performer also adapted his playing to suit crowd-pleasing tunes like We Will Rock You. If his varied talents behind the kit weren't enough, he's also got a killer voice. We will rock you. Sing it. Number 12. Dave Grohl, Nirvana, Queens of the Stone Age, and Them Crooked Vultures. Dave Grohl's chemistry with his Nirvana bandmates created a strong bond that helped to catapult them to success. On Nevermind, Grohl fills the entire record with career best recordings. His opening part on Smells Like Teen Spirit is only one of his welcome additions to rock history. Grohl brought them the same energy to their follow-up In Utero, defining his role as the premier drummer of grunge music. After the group dissolved, the musician played on the early Foo Fighters albums and as a one-time player for Queens of the Stone Age. He even got to play with hero John Paul Jones in supergroup Them Crooked Vultures. This epic gig further established him as an alternative rock star with a natural rhythm. Number 11. Ian Pace, Deep Purple. Deep Purple doesn't always get the credit they deserve for their 60s and 70s output. Drummer Ian Pace was part of their winning formula in their prime, playing on Smoke on the Water and Highway Star.
Nobody gonna beat my car, but gonna rape them to the ground.
The latter includes just one example of his style that went on to inspire many metal and hard rock drummers. He's also the one member that stuck around for every incarnation of the band, bringing his loud and driving sound to each and every track. Pace's ability to keep up with the group's forays into psychedelic, metal, and other rock subgenres show how enduring his presence is in music. Number 10. Charlie Watts, The Rolling Stones. Until his death in 2021, Charlie Watts was a vital piece of the Rolling Stones lineup. While his bandmates stole the spotlight, he made sure every track was rhythmically whole. Watts is also the perfect case for a drummer who didn't need to be flashy. Miss You is entirely incomplete without his instantly recognizable beats behind it. Other classics from their early 60s period to their more daring 70s releases all feature Watts as a constant and reliable element. He was also regarded as the heartbeat to rock's longest-serving band. For a band as notable as the Rolling Stones, that's no small feat. Number 9. Phil Collins, Genesis. Sometimes it's important to remind people of Phil Collins' contributions to drumming beyond In the Air Tonight. Before taking center stage in the music world as a solo artist, he honed his skills in Genesis. His early days in the band consisted of elaborate and progressive compositions.
Captain leaves his thumbs right on through the night.
He mainly plays drums behind lead singer Peter Gabriel. Once Gabriel left, Collins filled the void with his own distinctive vocals. He guided the group through the end of their progressive period and into a more pop-oriented sound to great success. Regardless of the subgenre, Collins brings the heat with assured drum patterns. Number 8. Mitch Mitchell, The Jimi Hendrix Experience. There's only a handful of drummers that could keep up with Jimi Hendrix. Playing with the best guitarist in rock, Mitch Mitchell held his own as a formidable musician himself. His lasting impact on the Jimi Hendrix Experience permeates through every second of their recorded material. There are normal cymbals, and then there's Mitchell's cymbals, which create a beautiful cacophony on the track Foxy Lady. He and Noel Redding backed up the legendary Shredder and, in the process, became legends themselves for their efforts on other classics like Voodoo Child, Slight Return. If anybody could deliver the goods and stand out next to a true artist, it was Mitchell. Number 7. Nick Mason, Pink Floyd. Nick Mason is as important to the sonic landscape of Pink Floyd as Roger Waters or David Gilmour. While his drum parts don't always receive the same attention as Gilmour's solos, his work on Live at Pompeii is a particular standout. Mason's presence is deeply felt on every single studio album because it spans the many diverse eras of the group. Any listener who enjoys The Dark Side of the Moon has to salute Mason's songwriting credits that include Speak to Me and Time.
I like to be here when I can.
He disregarded any one style in favor of his own imaginative approach to percussion on Floyd's many concept albums. Number 6. Stuart Copeland, The Police. More than almost any drummer from the late 70s and early 80s, Stuart Copeland was more interested in the drums than just hollow showmanship. His work with The Police combines elements of classic rock, punk, and jazz into an effective approach. He played his instruments with an amazing ear for unique beats and reliable grooves.
I have to tell you just how I feel. I will share you with another boy.
Contributing pristine parts to a collection of unmistakable hits, Copeland was the true backbone of the new wave group. Few artists can play on tracks as varied as Roxanne and Wrapped Around Your Finger without breaking a sweat.
Turn into a shining band of gold.
While he's achieved much more than his efforts with The Police, he'll forever be known as an essential piece of the successful trio. Number 5. Ringo Starr, The Beatles. It almost goes without saying that Ringo Starr is the most famous drummer in music history. His steady pulse helped build the early pop sound of the group. Before they went into the studio full-time, Starr was already experimenting with more refined beats. His work on Ticket to Ride makes for one of his better performances due to its unique patterns.
She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride.
Another one of his best efforts is on Rain, an underrated Beatles single with wonderful drum rolls. If anything, Starr's achievements were largely ignored until reappraisals reminded everyone of his genius. His fame and namesake aside, this artist has a catalog full of worthy tracks to rediscover.
If you're lonely, you can talk to me.
Number 4. Ginger Baker, Cream. A drummer's drummer through and through, Ginger Baker influenced a generation of performers with his work in Cream. His rhythms progressed the art form beyond just a simple drum arrangement. Backing Jack Bruce and Eric Clapton, Baker infused his beats with a variety of influences from the jazz world and beyond. Although his work with the band only lasted 2 years, he was an essential part of their 4 studio albums. The drum solo on Toad is only a fraction of his accomplishments behind the kit. Even if you didn't count his work in Blind Faith or other efforts, his presence in rock history wouldn't be lost on any of his countless admirers. Number 3. Neil Peart, Rush. Neil Peart was known by many Rush fans as the true heart of the band. With one of the biggest kits in rock music, the drummer played the instrument as well as anyone in the history of the genre. Not to be outdone, Peart also had time to write lyrics for his group. His one-of-a-kind skills and lightning-fast reflexes produced beats for many progressive classics. "2112" is just one of a slew of musical projects that the performer released for the world. Alongside 2 of the best instrumentalists ever, the technical wizard never failed to wow a crowd with a signature fill or a masterful drum solo. Number 2. Keith Moon, The Who. A true wild child of rock and roll, Keith Moon was also a master at controlled chaos. His work with The Who stands the test of time as awe-inspiring percussion.
Things you say, well, maybe they're true. Get funny dreams again and again.
As his bandmate Pete Townsend wrote many epic songs, Moon layered in some heavy hits and cymbal crashes. The likes of Won't Get Fooled Again wouldn't feel the same without the musician's signature performance. Beyond his powerful showmanship, Moon also broke ground as a destructive stage presence. His sudden death in 1978 was a massive tragedy. Who knows how much he could have achieved with his inimitable talents? Before we get to our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Travis Barker, Blink 182. This pop-punk drummer belongs to several bands and has collaborated with hip-hop artists. Chad Smith, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not to be confused with Will Ferrell, he's part of one of the best rhythm sections ever.
I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day.
Taylor Hawkins, Foo Fighters. The late drummer even gave Dave Grohl a run for his money. Tommy Lee, Motley Crue. The heavy metal musician became known for entertaining crowds with his drumming antics. Rick Allen, Def Leppard. The Thunder God helped bring the band to heavenly heights despite having lost an arm. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. Often considered the greatest drummer of any rock band, John Bonham earns his title with every single track in Led Zeppelin's history. His contributions to the group are integral to their success and enduring legacy. Bonham's beats are the definition of in the pocket, providing the hypnotic pulse of rock's greatest singles. The performer's work has been taught, sampled, and copied for good reason. Songs like Whole Lotta Love or the band's rendition of When the Levee Breaks never fail to get listeners pumped. He's also a skilled technician with Fool in the Rain being among the more difficult patterns to replicate. Even after dying much too young, Bonham's continued to inspire rockers for generations. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.